Hey there, everyone. Welcome to another Let's Play Disco Elysium. I'm Samuel.
And I'm really curious what's behind that curtain.
Yes. For us, this has been an entire month cliffhanger, by the way. You guys are getting off easy by just having a week. So, what's...
You see a set of tattered curtains blocking the way to another room. A strange cage-like trinket dangles from the curtains. You see a dimly lit room full of dusty furniture and trash. A doorway stands in the back, covered in dozens of scary little Seminese wards, your shadow looming over it like an omen.
I forgot about her.
Yeah, a small terrified O escapes from her as she tries her best to look away, her round face buried in her hands.
Ooh, that's a striking statue.
Ghostly silhouettes of hair dryers. Ooh, look at that painting. Vaguely androgynous portrait of a man. Looks like Guillaume de Le Million, that hair poster.
A heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds, of Seminese trinkets and charms. It appears to be locked. Only an echo. No one is there.
Unlock the door with the key.
After exerting some force, you manage to turn the key. It's eerily silent. The door slides slightly open, letting a draft of cold air into the room.
Nah, let's be the brave one this time.
Oh. Not what I was thinking. Oh my god, it's a gym. It's a workout area. The horror, the horror.
The lieutenant stares at the dusty training equipment. I mean, this was our reaction, so I think we're going to go with it. Looks like a gem to me.
Yes, but no one's been here in ages.
He draws a stripe on the dusty floor with his foot.
I doubt the electricity still works. We should find a flashlight if we want to go on. There should be one in my kinema.
An eerie feeling rises in your chest.
Do you feel like if we leave, we might reset something?
Let's go get the flashlight.
The lieutenant
Just to be
nods.
safe.
We just got in here, by the way, and already we have to go back out to the car.
We'll let her know. We gotta go get the light of Gabriel. We'll be right back.
Those horns, Shay.
I love it.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox. A metallic drawer slides out from under. It's robust, weatherproof, and well-made. Police issue, blue. Lets you see things in the dark you would otherwise miss. The pull-out toolbox slides back.
I'm skipping over some of these things, guys. We've seen them enough at this point. You don't need them anymore.
Sound design is just so wonderful.
Sand is dripping from a punching bag. Tools. There we go.
Wow. Finicky controls, it looks like.
The poster says Citrus Fortress, Fortis. The rest is worn off. Worn out wall bars. They look unsafe.
No, it's the best kind of wall bars.
Oh my god, Shay.
I'm very glad we actually got the flashlight now.
The hallway is blocked by old window panes and debris. This game suddenly became a bit horror-like, and you know how I feel about that.
Oh, I believe we'll be able to get through it. Come on, as wonderful as our rolls have been, if we go up against anything, we're absolutely dead, let's be honest. But you know what?
A large demijohn full of strange liquid. Wild animals stare at you in the dark, stuffed and mounted. Oh god, they're even doing creepy music, Shay!
Well, I mean, look at it. Look at the deer. Oh, look at the oh my gosh, no.
Airship rotors covered in spider webs. They remind you of blades. The actual am I even hearing?
I don't like the mannequins. That's what kind of freaks me
A
out.
naked mannequin torso, a strange yellow color. But where are the clothes it used to display?
How do we know it displayed clothes? It might have been something that someone was doing.
Blue
Ugh.
velvet, soft to the touch, moth bitten.
Did something move?
Skis with slipstring printed on the laminated top layer. Steel rotor blades bearing a slipstream logo.
Looks like someone tried to reconceptualize their business here.
I don't get it.
Look, the skis and rotor blades both bear the same slipstream logo.
Ah,
It seems likely that they started out making one, failed to turn a profit, and then pivoted to producing the other.
but the
Yeah,
question,
that was my question. Yeah.
which did they start with and which did they pivot to?
That's a good
Wait.
question.
I don't like the way that the game, like, the designers have already thought it's like, this is what someone would logically ask. And whenever you read it on the screen, it's a bit unsettling whenever they do that.
I mean, I told you I thought this game would be us for a reason, right?
Like, robot overlords. Praise be. Anyway.
What a strange leap of imagination, and yet they failed. How sad.
Reality is ruthless.
Amen to that. Ooh.
Production schedule, filament memory. Price 50. What be that business? This cube-like crisscross of filaments feels oddly fragile in your hand, its intricate structure covered in dust. Silver tape on the side reads production schedule note. This filament contains information that can be read using a radio computer.
Radio computer.
Interesting. And there's the figure that we got. Okay, interesting. Ooh, drawer. Ah, yes. We'll take that.
Wait, 300 real? Was that right?
$3.12.
Oh, $3.12. Sorry. My
This old
apologies.
fireplace is covered in lines drawn in blue and red marker, the mesh spreading over the stone like blood vessels on alabaster skin.
Is that like a
Looks ghostly
map?
and strangely ancient.
It
The
looks
whole
like
thing
it.
resembles Cadran mosaic tiles. Very pedantic.
Hold on, how do I know what Cadron mosaic tiles are supposed to look like?
History classes, students with their textbooks open, studying the roots of our civilization. Those aquarelle blue tiles looked beautiful in the sun.
What am I looking at?
Radio frequencies, it seems. UKV 123.6, UKV 123.7, UKV 123.9. Some written notes, too. Sparse and cryptic.
Radio frequencies for what?
Unclear. It looks like a cardiovascular system split into veins and capillaries. Very advanced.
So we're dealing with something medical here?
You think so? The web is comprised of radio stations, all lead back to one red heart titled the Game Master Frequency. A note says this one can listen in on any station it wants.
If it's a game, then who's playing?
Whoever decides to call in to a call-in station, it looks like. All of this is gone, left unrealized. There's no way a little basement studio working here could pull anything like this off.
My God. It's as if the less money they had, the more ambitious their project became.
Why do you say that?
The schedule. I know doom when I see it. The company was running out of funding.
What else?
Nothing. It's just lines on marble. An echo from times long gone. No one has used the fireplace in ages. Your flashlight slides over an old green chalkboard covered in scribbles, sketches, and schemes like some ancient cave mural. Some of the writing has faded with age, but you can still make out sections here and there. Photos and drawings have been pinned to the board.
Inspect the drawings.
These lithe, pointy-eared creatures appear to be different types of welkins. You make out autumnal candle welkins casting wax-based magic.
Someone was trying to come up with a D&D, well, I'm going to be more broad, a tabletop-like game. Is that what we're talking about here, using radios?
It definitely looks that way.
With organs shining under their skin, and even ether welkins hailing from the vast emptiness of sidereal space. Who are all those creatures? Fantasies of a tortured, feverish mind? You should adopt one of those Wilkins as your persona. No longer a mere man, but a Welkin. One of the Welkins,
Yep, order
towering
complete.
among the rest, appears to be different, however.
Examine the Welkin. This is important.
It's Vara Hamira, a high Welkin, his face white and scarred like cracked marble. This is clearly a Welkin supremacist. The note says, all non-Welkin races will be purged. The Haldor, the Twarg, the humans,
sounds
and even
familiar.
headless men, all of them, purged. Imagine a world filled only with Welkin, Green Welkin, Dread Welkin, and the High Welkin to rule them all.
Elves!
An inordinate amount of time has gone into drawing these little welkin creatures.
Why would anyone spend so much time on this?
Some people really like building a world, I think, even if it's just for a game.
Meta alert! This will have no anything of anything on this freaking game, I guarantee you, and yet it's probably got like so much worth. Let's keep digging. Who are these creatures? Who drew them? Are they real? I have so many questions.
This looks like concept art for a project. It's not really real.
Well, this has been educational. Let's move on from Welkins.
Just look at those details. So much effort.
And for what? All gone.
Inspect the photos.
The photo collage depicts barren, icy landscapes wrapped in perpetual night. You see permafrost and glacial landforms, dead trees grown in under the snow. Entire oceans have been frozen from shore to shore. There are pictures of settlements on dried up riverbeds, abandoned in a storm. Animal corpses in the dark, carcasses and bones. You see primitive oil rigs built into glaciers, boreal dvorg, yurts under the snow, great mammoth-like beasts of burden. Albeit dark and cold, this vision also feels cozy in its own way, like eggnog or morphine, a much-needed respite from our own world. A pinned postcard reads, "The heat death scenario. A desperate fight for geothermal energy engulfs the world as Wirral becomes untethered from its sun, drifting through the universe."
I'm kind of digging this fake, like, campaign setting, Shay. I'm not going to lie.
I want to say, isn't there a game based upon that? Like the world is like getting frozen over and you have to let certain survivors in? I'm drawing a blank on that one.
It's possible.
This is a monthly calendar from the year 50. Cryptic words like sprint, daily minimi, and GPI span the marker-drawn grid, the grand scheme of production and money. Mini-Me stands for a mini-meeting. It's part of a bigger framework for managing work called RUN. Station 41 tried to implement it a few years ago, but failed.
What happened?
As time goes on, the numbers in the boxes grow rarer and rarer. The board becomes an empty snowfield in the final days. Only failure and regret dwell in this region.
Looks like they didn't make it.
What if this was a game project that they were working on before and it totally failed and they just stuck it in here?
Is this why the woman thinks like this is all demonic and everything because she came in and saw this?
Oh my god, can you imagine her being an overly religious person? No, that would be amazing.
Wait a minute, she can't be an overly religious person. I mean, she's like talking about crystals and all the other new age BS. Right?
True. I mean, that's a religion. But anyway, we can get too deep into this.
The layers on this is, my gosh, man.
Like, in other words, give the equivalent of the 80s satanic panic, but this way, like, that's where my brain's going. But anyway.
A note in the bottom left corner of the chalkboard says, see the prod schedule filament for details.
Which we have. Inspect the notes.
The handwriting is only partly legible, but you can still make out 3 slogans: Call in, Tune Out, Wirral Untethered, and Heat Death of the Universe.
I really want to talk to the girl that's out front now because I
appears
bet
to
that
be
she
some
was one
kind
of the
machine
players.
with a cube-shaped heart and a wired framework. The keyboard has a rectangular on-off button. A piece of paper still hangs from the printer.
A radio computer.
Haha, we found
Just
it.
sitting here without anyone inside.
He sounds surprised and a bit cautious.
But we are looking for a fridge, and we are pressed for time, so...
On the other hand, it's not that I'm not interested in abandoned radio computers.
You think I should turn it on?
Maybe the body has stopped decomposing somehow. I don't know. You're in charge of this expedition, officer.
Turn on the machine.
The machine lights up like some prehistoric animal stirring from its slumber, revealing fluorescent play and print keys on the keyboard. The hatch on the machine's central compartment is wide open.
Look inside the compartment.
It's empty like a beehive without its brood. Some cables have been left dangling, disconnected. The filament you have would fit perfectly inside the compartment.
Insert the production schedule.
Like a smooth draw, the filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the play key starts blinking.
Press play.
A bar of fabric right above the keyboard starts producing a soft hum. The sound of static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. Have you stirred the ghost of the doomed commercial area from its rest? Could this be its dismembered heart beginning to flutter? The static gets louder, slowly filling up the abandoned hall, until a voice speaks out, crackling and old, cutting into the air.
Good morning. Fortress accident en rue de Saint-Ghislaine. This is East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule?
What's the production schedule?
The filament you have inserted into the reader.
You mean that glowing thing I put inside?
Yes. Is that the production schedule?
Yes.
Good. Please repeat the password.
Password?
Oh, no.
Of course it would have a password. That's why there's a human administrator involved.
Password. I'm really bad at passwords. Can you give me a hint?
No.
A hint system is not part of the protocol for repeater stations.
I don't know the password.
Received. I will register this login attempt.
Don't worry. Passwords have a way of turning up sooner or later.
Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today?
Why'd you call me Fortress Accident?
Fortress Accident is the company on whose name the terminal you are currently using has been registered to.
Do you have any other information about this company?
One moment.
You hear her flip through her catalog before she reads out, with studious care.
Fortress Accident SCA produces revolutionary interactive call-in radio games. That's what the catalog says.
That's not bad.
And what's that, this interactive call-in radio game?
Any other questions?
That's all for now.
Thank you, and goodbye.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow.
Okay. What do you think is going on with that computer, chalkboard, and fireplace?
I'm almost considering like number 4, but no, let's don't do it.
Yeah. It's just a failed business. The only question is, what the hell were they making? Does that sound good? Because I think that's what it is. I'm not paranoid enough to think we've stumbled upon some sort of weird... That doesn't look like it to me. It looks like someone tried to make a game and utterly failed at it.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking so.
Yes, that is the question.
But are we biased though? Because we're effectively playing like a virtualized D&D walkthrough here. I mean, is that kind of biasing our views?
It's possible. Yes, that is the question. The lieutenant takes a step back, steepling his hands.
It looks like one of those popular pen and paper role-playing games. Only these people were trying to automate it, make it work on radio computers.
Utter madness, he thinks, as a compliment.
How are they planning to do that?
Through call-in stations. None of the players have to be physically present. Anyone in the world can participate in the game, as long as they have a two-way radio.
Discord!
Then
I was
there's
gonna
the
say,
Game
you beat me
Master's
there.
frequency that listens in on the smaller call-in stations. I think that was supposed to coordinate the stories, functioning as a master of ceremonies of sorts.
Has anyone ever done this before?
Not to my knowledge. They make automated games in Graz, Messina, Königstein. You know, places with industry.
Not in Revachol West, among the ruins.
But I don't think anyone has attempted to create an interinsulary game before. We just don't have the technology.
And this was a role-playing game.
Indeed. Those Welkins are a dead giveaway. Role-playing people love that stuff. The one looks like a modified version of the
Guilty as
real-world
charged.
game with hit
Yep.
death thrown in.
Super cool. Someone should give them millions of real immediately. This game is too good to be left unfinished.
What do you think happened to the company?
No idea. They stopped filling out the schedule on the chalkboard.
Wow.
Indeed, it's ambitious and untethered from reality, but
Is this the creators like poking fun back at themselves?
It's completely possible.
It kind of feels like that. I'm almost down to number 3. But no.
Yeah, we're not believing in the curse and stuff anyway. But
Woody, I'm curious because number 3 could be taken as like paranoid, like, oh my gosh, I actually believe it. It could also be like a nudge joke between
Right.
the two. I'm curious how the game would filter that.
the world's cold and lonely. This would keep it company. Let's finish it.
it's too late for that, I'm afraid. Okay, let's keep moving.
Scribbled across the notebook, developers of the most advanced RPG in the universe.
Yeah, this is definitely the developers talking about themselves.
I feel like it, right?
Hmm.
I'm gonna go to the whatever that was
door
first.
Yeah.
Oh, this is okay. Actually, let's go the other way
Wait.
first.
Yeah, because that bear is going to be the freezer, is that correct?
That will be the freezer, yes. So let's make sure we fully explore it first.
I was gonna. Once you go down, you can never go back.
Can you imagine? And that's where the game ended, folks.
Well, to be fair, I mean, it's entirely possible. You can kill yourself in so many different ways, or in the run.
An
in so many
iron
different
safety
ways.
curtain curves before your eyes, folded like a bellows. It covers half the room, blocking the way into a colossal industrial chimney. This must be where the entity lives.
Knock on it.
What an odd thing to do. Nothing happens.
Knock on it harder.
Still nothing. No one's home.
Knock even harder.
Those curtains prove to be surprisingly sturdy. Your fist hurts.
Knock even harder. Just
If this is
barrel into
really
it.
an entrance to the chimney, then there must be a furnace somewhere as well. Maybe there's another way to get in.
Can you please try to refrain from attacking random things?
I can try. Blow gently on your bruised knuckles.
Thanks. In any case, there's no way we can get in right now. Let's investigate further.
Wait a minute. Doesn't he have a crowbar?
I think he might. Shoes in a puddle of melting snow.
That's interesting.
Postcard La Delta 51. The sunlight has made this postcard almost completely sepia-toned. Midtown traffic passes. Overhead, the ghost of skyscrapers disappear into beige midday mist, vapor rising from the delta on which the district was built. The postcard is prepaid.
Wait a minute. Let's go back to the shoes for a second.
Yeah, there's
So
nothing
the
to...
shoes. Yeah, but they're melting snow.
Yeah, does someone live here? That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking too.
'cause How did the snow get there?
Uh-huh. Great minds think alike, Shay. Look
Yeah,
at us
like-
actually having a mystery in this insanity.
Dun 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 dun. Well, I mean, you're the Perot or Holmes. I'm just the Watson walking around with you.
The Watson is very useful in these scenarios too, Shay. Don't under...
Please shut
Sometimes
up.
they
Don't
point out the
patronize me.
obvious crap that the investigator never notices.
Well, limited minds inside now.
We know what that is, so...
A thick layer
uh,
of coal dust covers the furnace, coloring
Shall
it
we just
pitch
climb
black.
in?
Looks like this furnace has a face, and it's a face of agony.
Ooh, now that you point it out.
Oh, yeah, now... Kim, what is this thing? Is it a furnace?
Looks like it. Looks like an old central furnace used to heat the building. It's connected to the chimney.
He opens the door and gingerly peeks inside.
No one has used it in ages. No signs of any recent fire. Only dead rats.
It's dark and grimy here. In the darkness you can hear chatter. It's coming from above. A voice, or several voices, talking to each other. Near the smoke chamber, upstairs.
What are you doing?
I'm not sure, Kim, but I think I hear someone talking upstairs.
Wait, really? Maybe it's coming from behind those safety curtains we saw upstairs.
I'm not sure I want to do that.
That may lead to a physical altercation.
Yeah, for now, I'm going to leave it. The wall collapsed. It's inaccessible now. An ice cream maker.
Kuno in there, do you?
Defrosted in a I swear to everything holy and decent if it's Kuno. I will finally snap. The flashlight cast a strange shadow. There's a hidden doorway here.
Oh, had we not gotten the flashlight, one, had we been able to get down here, two, we would never have found that.
Oh, that's unsettling. When
The
it just
autosave.
auto saves for us.
Do we turn on that?
I mean, let's go and deal with the fridge while we're here, right?
You see a terrifying ice bear with a strange compartment in its belly. The door is covered in frost, and the bear's eyes are glowing red. The bear looks oddly realistic. Is it taxidermy?
Crack open the door.
A gust of freezing cold air rushes to greet you. You hear a low grumble as the bear regulates itself. This is the inside of a refrigerator. The lieutenant takes a peek inside. His hand has found the holster of his gun.
Look inside the refrigerator.
The shelves are empty.
Wait.
All you see are crumpled ice cream wrappers with the brand name, Revachol Ice City. A handwritten note has been attached to the door. The fridge is huge.
I will say this. Imagine you walk into a 7-Eleven, a random convenience store and everything there, and you ask where the Klondike bars are. And
Yes.
they point to this.
Yes.
Now, honestly, what would you do for a Klondike bar? Because I'm thinking I would just leave.
Well, we know what the name of the episode has to be now. Put that in the notes.
Already there.
Take
I was
the note
chuckling what happened.
from the door.
You pocket the note and the little fridge magnets keeping it on the door.
This is clearly the fridge. It looks big enough for 2 corpses.
It's certainly an eccentric choice, but it is capacious and cold enough, too.
But the optics on this are awful, he thinks. We need to be as silent as we can. Your visual confirms you could fit 2 more bodies in the ice bear fridge.
Shall we go and get the body, then? I'll take the head, you take the feet. The stairs won't be easy, but we'll manage.
The 2 of you, easily.
Okay, let's do this.
The body is heavier than you expected and stinkier. It takes half an hour to get the body to the basement. Then 10 more minutes to stuff it into the fridge. The lieutenant takes a step back to admire your handiwork.
Beautiful. A dead body in an ice bear fridge. This is some of the best police work I've ever done.
I love his sarcasm.
You have created an ice bear sarcophagus.
I just absolutely love the idea that the game did not put us through the agonizing thing.
I
of
know.
coming back in. And
I
everything. It's
so
wonderful
thought that was
just-
going to be a thing.
Me too.
You've definitely earned a drink after this. Perhaps even some pagan rites.
Or pagan rites.
Behold, we've created an ice bear sarcophagus.
Talk of the ice bear sarcophagus must not leave this room.
He means it. He doesn't want to be the ice bear cop.
Oh, wait a minute. Did that carry to the chimney and have people upstairs now heard this?
Hope not.
Are we going to be able to figure out someone that might have been in there if they mention ice bear sarcophagus?
It's possible.
This game has me thinking too much. I don't like this.
Yeah, I'm not proud either, but we did find a fridge.
As impressive as the fridge is, this is a small victory, among numerous defeats. At least we've stopped the body from decomposing further. Now you can conduct another inspection, under controlled circumstances.
Inside the icy realm of the ice bear fridge, the corpse stands slumped, waiting.
Oh, God. I mean... What is a giant...
What color was it?
It is legendary. It is 3.
And we only
Or
have
our
one chance
percent.
of doing this?
Uh,
No, wait, you may retry.
Yeah, white ones. You can retry.
How lucky do you feel? How lucky do you feel?
I mean, if we get 2 6s, we win. But
You touch the dead man's body. His skin is cold, light blue and silvery in the light of the fridge. You still have no idea where to begin, or what to even do with him.
It'll come to you sooner or later. At least he's safe here until then.
And then it's locked for now. Once we upgrade perception, then we can do that. Plus, it'll make it a bit more. What is a giant bear-shaped fridge doing in an abandoned cellar in the first place?
Good question. It looks like an ice cream fridge.
The lieutenant reaches for one of the wrappers he studies in the light. So they tried to sell ice cream from this hyper-carnivore?
I know. What an unfortunate marketing choice. What is even worse, the bear is still costing them money to this day.
The lieutenant points at the red snaky cable running from the fridge.
The electricity bill must be catastrophic. On the other hand, it did help us with a certain corpse situation.
Lucky us.
Frozen ice cream maker that is still running.
Two cables are plugged into the breaker box. The red one leads to the ice bear fridge, and the black one to the ice cream maker nearby.
Intercom wires running into the breaker box. Huh. Has this woman been terrorized by someone and they're trying to pull something?
Why are they making ice cream? Are we not able to pass in there?
We aren't, I don't think. Apparently. Okay, there we
Oh,
go.
there you go.
Just had to click on it. Gotcha. Two rusty rifles are hidden above the piping. They look inoperable. Okay, they're inoperable. There's that at least.
Okay.
A few bricks have fallen off, revealing a compartment behind the wall. It's too dark to see in.
Where are we? Look around the secret room.
Seems like an old bunker from the revolutionary period. Look at all those rifles. Must be an old weapons cache.
Look, there's a hole in the wall.
There is, yes. And there also appears to be something inside the hole. Interesting. Do you want to take a look?
Okay, I do.
Absolutely.
Your hand reaches deep into darkness and spiderwebs. Rummaging around, you find rusty rifles hidden away.
Inspect the rifles.
Most of them are rusty and inoperable, like the rest. But one catches your eye. A bolt-action model with a fine wood stock, in better cosmetic order than the others. Take it. You're a police officer. Police officers carry guns.
This one looks nice.
That's a rare sight. Seems to no longer be functional, but still a beautiful thing in its own way.
What does this mean, a rifle here?
It means there are firearms, albeit inoperable, still lying around in Martinez. It's an interesting coincidence, I would say. Might come in useful in the future.
He likes this find.
Someone has stuck some busted guns beneath the ceiling.
Now, who would keep a bunch of, like, just random guns? I mean, let's be honest, we can all hoard stuff, but random busted guns?
I know, right? Aha! Would you look at that? We now have a little bitty shortcut, Shay.
I wonder if this is how we get the body in there so quick. But then again, they said it took 30 minutes, and I can't imagine that woman is walking through her store
Yeah.
with it.
So that's probably how it happened. So,
Wait,
Shay.
then that means that Kuno could absolutely have scurried up that chimney. It could 100% be them.
So do we go upstairs, Shay?
Or do we yell hello?
Problem is, if
We've
we
got
do
the
that.
rifle now.
We do.
So we can intimidate them if needed.
Uh-huh.
I would advise against shooting the rifle into the chimney, but
I mean, the rifle doesn't function apparently, so that's...
I would advise against banging the rifle or throwing the rifle into the chimney. And we didn't find anything that looked like a password. Was that correct?
Correct.
Do we want to step out and grab that crowbar? Because I'm kind of thinking crowbar might help here.
Not seeing them. I bet the only way we deal with that is if we do shout up.
Mm. Are we only allowed to carry one thing at a time, by the way? Like, if we did grab the crowbar, will we have to leave the flashlight?
Probably.
Also, the random sounds is kind of freaking
I know. I've adjusted a little bit, Shay, but look at the mice. There are mice.
A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace, coloring it pitch black. Something breaks loose in you. A mighty bellow echoes throughout the chimney's depths. The chatter of tiny voices above suddenly cease. Then,
Hello?
you've awakened the entity.
I mean,
it would inspire authority, but then again, we don't have a badge. But he does.
our friend does. Hello, are you there? Speak to me.
Hello? Did you say anything? I can't hear you. Please come upstairs. There's a safety curtain on the second floor. I'll open it.
You hear a low rumble upstairs, the sound of a curtain being pulled aside.
After you, officer.
Wonderful. I am just glad we didn't have to do any kind of intimidation checks or anything. Just, oh yeah, this random person I'm speaking to through the vents, of course, I trust you. Come on up. Given that there was a dead body that was right outside, I mean, why not?
What the actual? That is not
So
what
they're
I was
still doing the
expecting.
game?
This tray is full of dice. Colorful polyhedral dice. Hundreds of them! Shay, we found somebody still working on it!
Hallelujah.
It's amazing! The candy dispenser has been repurposed to contain thousands of dice.
Hello. I'm Nia.
A bird-like woman sits on a throne of tools with emerald light shining through her hair.
Did you try knocking on my window? I must have missed you. I've been listening to my Milius.
She taps on her headphones.
So what kind of die are you looking for?
Could this be the malicious entity? Perhaps it's wise to go along with this masquerade for now. She's got a direct view to the backyard. You should interrogate her about the Legion.
Ooh.
Hold on, what do you mean by milieus?
Yes, a Milius is like a call-in station. You need a two-way radio to access one. That's why I have these.
She pats the headphones on the table.
Mostly, they just teach you to swear in different languages. But some of the stations can be quite interesting. I was so absorbed, I must have missed you knocking.
You must have confused me with someone else. I haven't knocked on your window.
Then how did you get inside? By the south entrance? You know what? It doesn't even matter. What matters is that you're finally here. Let's talk dice. Did you have something specific in mind?
Why are you asking me about dice?
I'm a novelty dice maker. Tell me the name of your role-playing system and I'll make the die you need. That's why you're here, yes?
So I've been playing Vampire the Masquerade recently. No, that is actually an accurate statement.
As she speaks, her bone-like fingers fiddle with a ring. Her bones light, but her hands strong. Role-playing games? You know the one made by Fortress Accident. Does that count?
I love number 3.
Yep.
But that might put her on edge.
Mm-hmm. I'm not interested in buying dice right now. I'm a police officer and I need to ask some questions.
Of course, I can see that. I just thought you were a police officer looking for dice. How else can I help you then?
No falsehoods are present. She's a novelty dice maker and doesn't have anything to hide. Ask what you need.
How'd you become a dice maker?
How did I become one? It was a business decision. I was a regular jeweler at first, but that's an unfocused field with too much competition. Some of my friends were role players. They asked me to make some polyhedral dice out of cobalt. That was
Nice.
my first order. I grew it from there.
Do you like role-playing games yourself?
Not especially. I like working with rare materials and a steady pay. And role players as customers? They're nice people.
Some of those nice people have big bucks to spend on novelty items. She's thankful for the security they provide her.
What do you know about the man who was lynched behind the whirling in rags?
Nothing really. I didn't know him.
Who cares about the dead body? We might be dealing with a malignant entity here.
Oh, shit.
The lieutenant looks at his notebook. Then the woman under the large window.
Your window looks directly onto the courtyard. You're saying you didn't see or hear anything unusual last Sunday evening?
I'm sorry, detective, but as you know, I usually have my headphones on when I'm working. It shuts out most of the daily ruckus behind my window.
What do you mean by the daily ruckus?
Well, there's always something going on in the Whirling's backyard. During daytime, there are usually those kids. And lately, I've been seeing a lot of drunk workers hanging about. Must be because of the strike.
She's heard of the murder, but did not see it, sire.
But I never saw anyone during that fateful Sunday night, I'm afraid.
And you never took your eyes off the work to look out the
I
window?
might have, but in this case, all I would have seen is my own reflection staring back from the darkness. It's really hard to make anything out in the yard when it's dark outside. Besides, I rarely get up to look out the window when I'm in the zone.
Do you often work Sunday nights?
It's an odd profession, making dice for people, but I like it, and I prefer doing this to sitting at home.
I see. Thank you for your
She
answers.
nods.
Anything else, officer?
Hey, where are we anyway? What is this place?
We're inside the chimney of an old central furnace. It's strange, I know.
She looks at the ruddy bricks and the makeup walls. Even though they've been repainted, there are still signs of coal-black soot here and there.
But when I arrived here, all the other rooms were taken, so I had to build myself a makeshift home. Besides, I don't really have to pay any rent here, so that's a plus.
Plaisance was right. There's an entity living in the chimney. You should ask her about the curse.
Creative.
Creative is one word for a squatter, but
Yeah. Do you know what happened to the other tenants? Everyone else is gone.
More or less. Are you interested in anyone specific?
Oh, quite a lot of them spring to mind.
There used to be a hair salon here, right?
Yes, I think it was called Androgynous Orlando or something similar. They weren't a big hit around here. Turns out that working class men don't like genderless haircuts. They're scared of that word.
You wouldn't like it either.
Happy Pride
The
Month,
others
everybody.
would love it. A bit of experimenting every now and then isn't bad. It's not about the haircut. It's about the confidence.
exactly.
I'm tempted to go with actual me on this one.
You and I are exactly the same. That's the one that I was gravitating toward, or as well.
Since this is how we're doing this with us inside of his head anyway, as a theme, we might as well go for it, right? I guess I'm a simple man. I don't really have any opinions on hairstyles.
Me neither. I just want it off my face.
Exactly.
Right. So it's not in the way. What happened to the gym?
It wasn't merely a gym, it was Artemitep's boxing club. A community project created to steer at-risk youth away from drugs and crime.
Ooh.
Maybe that's what Kuno needs, a community-centric boxing club.
Kuno? Who's Kuno?
The ginger gremlin.
He's a little ginger gremlin who likes to defile dead bodies.
Oh yes, you mean the kid with the sailor's mouth. Yes, I've heard him yelling profanities in the backyard.
She looks out the window. It's oddly quiet there at the moment.
I think it would take more than a gym to help that kid.
Who was Arpentap?
A kind man from Zemsk. I heard he had some trouble with the law when he was younger, and that's why he wanted to start the gym, as his way of giving back.
How did that community project work out?
It didn't. If anything, it made the youth situation in Martinez even worse. At some point, someone started a rumor that the punching bag downstairs was full of amphetamines.
It's not really full of that. No one would store their drugs like that.
Eventually, the coalition took away the funding and the club went bankrupt. This was a few years ago. It's gotten much more peaceful around the plaza ever since.
What's up with the broken windows?
Oh, this one's a mess. There used to be a company that promised to repair windows 24 hours a day. What could go wrong with this one, right? Turns out, the business was actually set up as a front for an illicit group that was producing snuff milias. Who would have guessed?
What's the snuff milieu?
And they never cleaned up the debris either. Now it's just littering the hallway and I have no idea how to get rid of it on my own.
Cool, very cute all about the debris, but what's a stuff
It's a Sub Rosa radio station that broadcasts real murders with real victims.
Good
Some
God.
people pay good money to get
Oh
off on
my
it.
gosh.
You know, I thought Cyberpunk was the only universe that came up with this. Turns out I'm wrong. If you know, you know.
Nothing changes in her tone as she says that, as if it's just another piece of information to lay out for the world.
Don't worry, the ICP has a separate division that deals exclusively with unlicensed sub-roses. This isn't our problem.
Good luck with that. It's not easy catching those perpetrators.
Did someone here make stuffed animals? I saw mounts lying around.
You mean Mr. Fabron, the taxidermist? No, he mostly just did drugs. Anything else?
I found creepy. Let's take care of your mannequins, Jay. I found creepy
That was
mannequins. Oh, for Pete's sakes, be quiet, virtual assistant.
There used to be a fashion atelier here, but I have forgotten the head designer's name. They were doing well for a couple of years, until the insect rights activists came.
Insect rights activist? What in the name of...
The atelier produced a certain collection that used chitin among the materials. Apparently chitin is made in the Occident, where it's extracted from beetle wings. And you know how all kinds of political movements are big in the Occident. The activists shut down the biggest chitin supplier, which of course caused the price to skyrocket. And, naturally, all the most fashionable tastemakers refused to be seen in chitin from then on. The atelier went bankrupt before they could finish the collection.
I'm glad someone took care of the little guys. I like insects.
Really? Anyway.
Poor guy. Suddenly, you get a feeling that insects are important to the case somehow. It's hard to say why.
What's with the rotor blades and skis?
They were made by a company called Slipstream. After they pivoted from making rotor blades to skis,
Ha!
the chief executive took off on a vacation with all their money.
She rests her chin on her hand with an impish smile.
Honestly, I think it's quite funny. I think he's still sending out holiday transmissions from Tulula or Tumotiri or Hashtkor or wherever he is.
Interesting. What do these transmissions say?
The usual, I imagine. That he's been thinking up all kinds of new business plans and can't wait to get started on them just as soon as he returns.
Her smile widens before she sees the lieutenant's face behind you.
Men like that are a curse.
The lieutenant is stern.
Sure, but Slipstream is history now. All their remaining assets got seized by the bailiffs in 47. I have no idea why those keys and blades are still lying around in the house. Not much use now, I guess.
They were just the props. Why return them?
I found a strange machine.
Fortress Accident, the radio game studio.
She closes her eyes as some remnant of a memory lights up her face.
She liked them.
They were an interesting bunch. We talked about role-playing systems every now and then. Once, I even saw two of them get into fisticuffs over Wirral.
That's understandable. Fantasies are serious things. The mind is the drawing board of history.
They certainly took their work very seriously, even if they seem to be chronically liberal with their schedules.
What do you mean liberal? What happened?
The usual. They ran out of money and couldn't get the project done on time.
What went wrong?
Well, I did hear them talking at times.
She looks at the hallway as if she can hear them chit-chat behind her curtains on a cigarette break.
They seemed to believe they were historical individuals on some grand quest.
She sounds almost mocking when she says that.
From what I've seen...
It's gotta be them poking fun at themselves. That has to be it.
Right. From what I've seen so far, the project did look quite impressive.
Yes, but when the money started to run out, they just began to complain a lot about capitalism. You know, how the markets are rigged to keep out new businesses and so on. In the end, they just didn't get it done. They didn't have enough willpower to produce something truly historic, and to show up to work on time.
She's right. Showing up to work on time is important.
I feel personally called out by this, I gotta say.
Not me, but
I am
anyway.
chronically late. I don't think there has been a single recording episode, a single stream that I've honestly been either on time or early. I've been chronically late just about every hangout that we've ever done. My gosh, I didn't expect this from this game. My gosh.
That's why we say around 6, Shay.
Yeah, this is true.
It's too bad. It looked like it. I would have supported them. The project looked great.
Not the wisest decision. You would have lost all your savings.
She tosses a pair of dice on the table. One of them stops near the edge of the metallic desk.
The result is 1 on a 20-sided die.
Freaking poetic. I love it.
The dice is black and filled with little silvery flakes, like snowfall.
Anything else?
Yeah, how did you just roll a 1 on a 20-sided die, and it just dovetailed perfectly with your sentence there?
I know,
Are
right?
you the malignant entity?
People that have tried to set that up for like a TikTok joke, they talk about how many takes they do. It is like usually like 40 takes. There was a terrifying taxidermied bear in the cellar.
Oh boy, the fabled Revachol ICT. You're in for a treat here.
She smiles and leans closer, hands on her knees, like a stand-up comedian ready to tell a story.
The place was owned by two guys who had some rather innovative ideas about marketing. The bear was one of them. Now ask me about their other ideas.
Indeed. What were the other ideas?
All right, what about the other ideas?
There was really just one. And it involved picking out the prettiest girls in the neighborhood and paying them 20 cents per hour to man the booth. And by man the booth, I mean slump behind the counter with a face that could maim you if you ever dared to disturb their bored magazine browsing.
She leans back disapproving.
Fritta does the same thing.
I know a girl just like that. She works in Fritta as a cashier, and she's not particularly friendly.
Employing silky teenage girls is a widespread practice, yes. Unfortunately, they always come in packs. I'm talking about acne-ridden girlfriends and gorilla-like boyfriends loitering near the shop. At least that's what happened with Ravachol ICT. And they already had the bear.
She closes her eyes as if remembering something painful. What about the bear?
The bear.
She repeats, pressing thumbs into her temples like trying to suppress a headache. It didn't work out?
Of course not. The bear was terrifying. No one wants ice cream guarded by a hostile apex predator. To make matters worse, the fridge didn't work too well either, and half the ice cream came out malformed and partially melted. Eventually, Ravachol ICT lost the price war to its rival, Glace 5000. Glace 5000 sold caramel sundaes for only 5 cents a piece, out of regular fridges.
do I channel my inner Andrew Heaton and do one?
Do it. Absolutely, go for it.
It's the market doing its job.
Maybe, because the taxidermist who made the bear definitely wasn't. Doing his job, I mean.
How come?
He said that the
what's
bear
that?
was his vision beast. He said he met his vision beast while high on desiccants. Called it Megatherion.
Sounds cool.
Megatherion?
Megatherion, a mega wild beast.
What's a mega wild beast?
It's an imaginary beast that guides you through life by telling you to do more drugs, mostly.
The horrific necktie tightens around your neck, strangely excited. But it doesn't feel particularly fun this time around.
I don't do drugs.
Very good. You shouldn't do them. You're a police officer after all. Anyway, now you know the story of the fallen ice cream empire.
She seems almost sad finishing the story. Some dust beams swirl in the morning light. Her eyes follow it idly.
Anything else? Another failed business, perhaps? I've been here for a long time.
But regardless of that, time to wrap up for this one. If you guys want to follow all of the other Let's Plays, head on over to tscn.tv/play. And until next time, play on and see you guys.
Later.
This has been a production of the Samcast Network, tscn.tv. What's your passion?